Welcome back to the channel and to even more 2K25 updates. So earlier today we covered today's big news in a big general overview which you can see linked in the description. But now we're going to be covering even more with a few more updates, news and things you might have missed. So here we go, let's get into another 2K25 video. So if you don't know already, 2K25 is adding at least two brand new match types, Bloodline Rules match and the NXT Underground match, and we've actually got a little bit of info on both. So first up, let's talk the NXT Underground match, of which we've actually got two brand new screenshots. Firstly, this one featuring Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice, which of course confirms her as a new superstar for this year's roster. And secondly, this shot featuring Sami Zayn and Carmelo Hayes, with the underground lighting looking especially awesome in this one. But the match itself is said to play out noticeably different to a regular match, which might be kind of obvious given the lack of ring posts and ring ropes. But the match type has introduced some new animations when fighting near the edge of the ring, with ringside fans also adding to the action by banging on the mat. As far as the Bloodline Rules match go, this one is set to begin as a 1 vs 1 no DQ match, with the added mechanic of each superstar having the option of 3 additional run-ins per match via payback or similar. So essentially, by the end of the match, it could go from a 1 vs 1 to potentially a 4 vs 4. Well, this one is said to cleverly combine aspects of both wargames and hardcore matches. Now another addition this year is of course a return of intergender matches, with some additional notes to what we covered earlier, being that these are not limited to just 1 vs 1, but rather pretty much any match type in the game, with the exception of mixed tag team matches that keeps things separate like we've had previously. This does mean that we can have intergender Royal Rumble matches, which might make for some pretty awesome moments. It is also said that the game will introduce some special intergender titles for both males and females to compete over. In today's previous video, we touched on the new feature of being able to dive off the barricades. This is said to come with its own specific moves, as well as the very cool detail of the barricade LEDs actually becoming damaged the more they're interacted with. If you're a fan of the MyFaction mode, then some notes there as well, mainly that this year's Faction Wars now features 50 extra stages. MyFaction is also said to feature a brand new non-linear World Tour type mode that's going to be replacing Proving Grounds. Keeping with MyFaction, multiple Persona cards have already been confirmed for the game via DLC. This includes the Wyatt 6 as the pre-order DLC bonuses, as well as superstars from both the Deadman Edition as well as the Bloodline Edition. Speaking of the Bloodline, they obviously get a huge focus this year, this year's brand new Bloodline Dynasty 2K Showcase mode, with some matches in the mode set to feature multiple endings, which in theory should mean we're going to be getting some pretty cool alternative cutscenes, of which cutscenes this year are said to be fully gameplay cutscenes, with the previously used mix of gameplay and real life clips, also known as slingshot technology, said to be gone from this year's game. Also, for the Bloodline, we have had a bunch of Bloodline superstars already confirmed for the roster, including the legendary Yokozuna as you can see in this screenshot, with the addition of his manager Mr. Fuji in case you missed it previously. This means we have got two brand new managers in this year's game, that being Mr. Fuji, as well as Brother Love from the Deadman Edition. 2K25 is also set to introduce a brand new third-person over-the-shoulder camera angle for not only entrances but also for matches as well, with the right stick said to be used to move the camera once you press another button to initiate it. As interesting as this one might be, hopefully we have got the option for this and the older view as well, as I can kind of see this one being a bit hit or miss depending on player. Yet another new feature this year is the Giant archetype. This means that this year's Giants will feel more giant than ever, as they will feature an additional health bar, won't be able to do high flyer moves, and will be limited with combos due to limited stamina. Despite all of this year's changes, one thing that doesn't seem to have changed is this year's commentary team, of which looks to remain the same as we've seen in previous games. Very lastly, 2K25 is going to be featuring at least two brand new brawl areas, with those being the WWE Archive area, as well as the NXT parking lot. That should definitely mix up this year's backstage brawls, of which this year has been upped to an 8-person limit. And there we go, a bunch more 2K25 news, notes and things you might have missed. As always, stay tuned for much more 2K25 coverage coming to the channel soon. And until next time, this has been 101, and I will see you all on the next one.